Hi everybody, welcome to the Three Stooges review. Today we'll be talking about the 20th film that the Stooges made with Columbia Pictures called Slippery Silks. It was written by somebody named Stuart Anderson, it was directed by Preston Black, and it's also the last film to be released in 1936.
We scored this one pretty much identically. Slapstick gets a 2. I was hoping 36 would really go off with a bang. It almost did with Whoops, I'm an Indian, but this one just falls short.
This film gets high marks in some of the important areas. Right. For example, next category is dialogue, and we both give it a 3 because there's some really funny, interesting dialogue going on in here.
Right.
But the slapstick doesn't reach the level of the dialogue, so that's weird, but that's kind of the way it is. The plot is very strong in this. We both gave it a 3. In this film, the Stooges are carpenters who destroy somebody's property. They then inherit a fashion design studio. They're then called to take part in a fashion show given by the wife of the person whose property they destroyed. This is basically an idea that they would use several times with none other than Vernon Dent as the same character.
And it's usually mixed in with the hoi polloi in these situations, which we do again.
Right.
And it's not as
doesn't
funny
work
as
this time.
Yeah, it doesn't. The transition doesn't seem as
well.
smooth.
They don't write that stuff into it. They don't have to actually deal with the hoi polloi.
Right.
This is another pie fight one, but I use pie fights in quotations because the first time was clay in an art studio, and this time it's just all kinds of pastries. It's just interesting that the Stooges are today famous for pie fights, when in reality, in their early days anyway, they haven't used any pies yet. So I find that interesting. Oh, this is also the first one for the nails in the ass gag.
Which is pretty funny.
That's very humorous, especially considering this would be the first time audiences have seen that.
Yeah, and you know what I love about gags like that? The Stooges are living cartoons. We wouldn't have the same kind of comedy if the Stooges were doing sort of what the Marx Brothers do. I don't think the Marx Brothers ever put nails in anybody's ass.
Supporting cast gets a 2 from both of us.
Nothing much here. Everyone kind of does their thing.
Nobody stands out.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, this episode is very strange. It's like I said, I've laughed at it so many times, but I don't see the humor now. The cabinet thing is funny. It's funny as hell.
Yes, there are some, but there are some. Let's talk about the Stooges' performance.
Okay.
2s all the way down.
2s all the way down.
Moe, the thing is, I guess it's dialogue driven. Some of my favorite dialogue driven moments happen in this episode, this film. Even an example of a non-dialogue driven thing would be when Moe pulls Larry up to see if the coast is clear. That's just the way they pull that off. Is very funny. On and on. There are a lot of very funny things about this film, but yet the film as a whole doesn't work. There are a lot of things that don't seem to gel. For example, the setup of the situation that they're going to be dealing with the high society. And then we get what it basically amounts to a rather dull pie fight.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem. Yeah. The end is not very good. In fact, the end is a total ripoff of hoi polloi, the very end. Yeah, there's 2 endings to hoi polloi. There's the wrap-up, and then there's the absolute end gag.
Right.
They use the absolute end gag from hoi polloi almost in an identical way here, and it doesn't work at all. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, and so the last thing is Pretty Girls, and I gave it a 2 because there are a bunch of women in this, and, you know, some of them are attractive. But nobody stands out for me.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 1.
So basically, my total score is an 18.
And mine is a 17. And here's what I would suggest with this one. Don't really take this review as gospel, or any of them, really, because everybody finds certain things funny. This is a classic episode. It's just not classic to me. And there's some convoluted reasons why, and there's some hard facts why. So I'm just saying, see this one and decide for yourself, because the beginning of this one is is really funny. I think maybe it just goes downhill so badly. I don't know. I have a tough one. I'm tough with this. I gave it pretty high. It's a mediocre Stooge film is what it boils down to.
I think you're right. It may be a little bit above mediocre. I mean, again, the plot is really, really strong, even though it doesn't work. Maybe we should have given it a 2. Because it doesn't really work. But it's there. The plot is there. Oh, yeah, he says they destroyed they're the guys.
They're the guys.
Doesn't he say
Those
that?
are the guys who ruined my cabinet, yeah.
And then what happens? A pie fight?
Yeah.
The pastry fight?
He never gets to kill them or whatever he wanted to do.
Right. Why did they throw that ending with the ladies hitting them with the that's one of the problems is there's no resolution with you know.
Many different aspects of this. There's no resolution.
Not a fine good resolution.
There's a lot here for the plot.
But it just doesn't come together.
Yeah, the film itself isn't. But then you would say to somebody, well, don't take my opinion. See this one and see if you belly laugh. Because I'm sure I have.
Parts of it are funny, but the entire episode does not work. The entire film does not work.
Like you said, the pastry fight, it's pretty lame. Let's face it.
Yeah, it's not that good. But there are some moments in it. I don't know. The clay fight in Pop Goes the Easel is very funny, but I think it's a question of timing and pace.
Yeah.
And there are so many funny moments or amusing moments in this film. We just both feel weird that this doesn't get at least a 20 or a 21.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, we score it fairly low to show people who aren't familiar with the Stooges. I don't think I would pull this one out and say you've got to see this one. And that is why. Even though I personally find this one very funny,
right? Well,
for
there's
a
some
lot of
really
different
funny,
reasons.
yeah, and the plot's really good.
But here's an example. This plot will be done over and over again, or a variation on this plot, and it'll be done much better later.
Right.
That marks now. This whole thing marks the end of Volume 1. Moving on to Volume 2 now. And 1937's Gripes, Grunts, and Groans. It actually says Grips, Grunts, and Groans, and I've noticed that before when I've seen that. Not that I remember what film this is, but I know I've looked at that title on the screen and said, that says Grips, Grunts. Is that supposed to be a pun or a play on words? I don't know. So anyway, Gripes, Grunts, and Groans, Grips, Grunts, and Groans, whatever it is, we'll be moving on to it, and hope you enjoyed this convoluted review of Slippery Silks.
And don't take our word for it. See it yourself.
See them all, of
See
course.
them all.
Buy
Yeah, and
this.
get this. Yeah, of course.
Buy this collection. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know what that's about. But anyway, you want to say goodbye?
See ya. Come back, rate, comment, and subscribe on this one. Rate, comment, and subscribe on the other ones. And if you have anything to say, pro or con, about us, about the Stooges, about the collection, whatever you want to talk about, the Stooge review is there for you.